So today's session agenda, we are going to discuss about introduction to Oracle GoldenGate. We'll discuss about different types of Oracle GoldenGate architecture, which are Oracle GoldenGate Classic architecture and Oracle GoldenGate Microservices architecture. We'll discuss about difference between classic and microservices architecture components. And then we'll discuss about Oracle GoldenGate installation and practical demo of it. We'll do it. Okay. So now let's focus. I want you to keep your phone down for next 60 minutes, and I assure you this is one of the best webinar you would have attended. But I want your help. Please, I'll give you 15 seconds to answer any urgent notification you might have on your phone. After that, keep your phone on silent mode and away from you for next 60 minutes. And I assure you these 60 minutes will be worth. So your 15 seconds starts now. So please answer any urgent notification you have. And we are going to start in next 3, 2, 1. Let us start. Okay. So first of all, I want to give you introduction about Oracle GoldenGate, what and why. So let me get you through the evolution of Oracle GoldenGate. So GoldenGate was founded in 1995. It was founded in 1991. It was GoldenGate. It was a standalone company. It wasn't Oracle GoldenGate at that time. Now, it was named after famous San Francisco Bridge, which is Golden Gate Bridge. Now, initially, it was designed or developed for uh, tandem systems. So, initially, it wasn't supporting multiple databases. Its focus was to support only one particular ATM databases. Now, in 2009, Oracle overtook it, and since then it is known as Oracle GoldenGate. So this is how Oracle got its Oracle acquired GoldenGate, and this is how GoldenGate got its name, Oracle GoldenGate. Now, after Oracle acquired it, it did lot of changes in GoldenGate, like extending its support to multiple heterogeneous databases, then introducing microservices architecture recently, then doing lot of changes in Oracle GoldenGate. And GoldenGate right now is one of the most famous product of the most famous solution for replicating data from one database to another database. So GoldenGate was named after that famous San Francisco Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, and 2009 Oracle overtook it, and since then it is known as Oracle Gate. Now, what is GoldenGate? So GoldenGate is a CDC tool. CDC tool stands for Change Data Capture. Change Data Capture. That means any changes, whatever changes are happening on the source database, they will be captured by Oracle GoldenGate and will be applied to the target database. So Oracle GoldenGate provides near real-time transactional data replication. That means that as soon as data gets committed on source database, it will be applied on target database within few seconds. This is what is called as near real-time. Let me tell you, if you go to Oracle or if you attend any Oracle presentation, they don't use the term near real-time. They use the term real-time. So they say that Oracle GoldenGate provide real-time transactional data replication. But I always use the term near real-time because nothing in this world is real-time. So if you are replicating data using Oracle GoldenGate, there you will have to expect some delay of few seconds. If it's real time, it means that, say for example, transaction gets committed on source at 9:01 a.m. It will be applied on target at the very same time. No, it's not like that. There will always be some delay, some latency. It might be in seconds, it might be in minutes, based on network, based on multiple factors. So that's why I always call it as near real time instead of real time. So Oracle GoldenGate provides near real time transactional data replication. Replication with GoldenGate can be unidirectional, bidirectional, or multidimensional. So that is one of the major feature of Oracle GoldenGate, that you can use GoldenGate replication for unidirectional replication, bidirectional, or multi-dimensional. Okay, so you have site A to site B. You are doing replication. Whatever transactions are happening on site A, you are replicating them to site B. So it will be unidirectional. Bidirectional will be you have site A, site B. Whatever transactions are happening on site A, you are replicating to site B. Similarly, whatever transactions are happening on site B, they are replicating on site A. That is called as bidirectional. And multi-dimensional means multiple sites are involved, like ABC, and you are replicating data among them. So with GoldenGate, you can do that. Now, another major advantage is with GoldenGate, you can have several sources and targets simultaneously. And it can be used for distributing data for backup, hot standby, auditing, reporting, warehousing, and load distribution as well. So with GoldenGate, the advantage is you can have multiple sources and multiple targets simultaneously. GoldenGate can replicate that. And then that replicated data can be used for backup or standby or auditing, reporting, warehousing, and load distribution. I'll give you one example of it. I was working with one of the leading Bank of India, State Bank of India, in 2011. Now, they at that time they used to replicate the data from Mumbai, India to Hyderabad, India using data guard. Now, their redo generation at night time, they at that time, and in fact now as well, if I understand, they're in a nightly job. And because it's a banking domain, and the size of the database at that time itself, I'm talking about 12 years before, it was 43 terabytes. I believe it must have increased now to at least double. So during night time, they used to run some nightly job which used to generate huge archive logs. Like I have seen archive log generation of up to 500 GB as well. And that nightly job just used to run from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. post midnight. So you can understand how much archive they used to generate. Now they used to replicate data through from Mumbai server to Hyderabad server using data guard. Now what used to happen was, now what I say, people from India who have experienced this, they can relate to this, what I'll be telling now. So what used to happen was their data wasn't able to get, like their data guard at that time, data guard again, they were using only data guard at that time for replicating data from Hyderabad, Mumbai to Hyderabad. Now what used to happen, because so much archives used to generate, so they used to have huge lag sometimes. Like I have myself seen a lag of 3 days as well. And you can understand, being such a critical system banking domain, if say for example Mumbai server goes down due to any reason, you can understand how much issue a bank will have. So what I did, and also another important issue was, apart from this, another important issue was, you might remember who are in India and who used to deal with SBI, whose parents used to deal with SBI at that time. At that time, SBI was considered to be one of the worst bank in terms of, because their servers didn't used to respond, or whenever you go to branch you used to get the message that server is not running, and other issues you were facing, right? So at that time, what they discussed there, I was working with one of the multinational company of India at that time, and TCS was my client. So they discussed this issue with them. I understood their issue, and then designed a solution for them. I suggested them that uh, I, I suggested them that uh, let us use GoldenGate to replicate the data from Mumbai to Hyderabad, okay, instead of data guard. So what used to happen was, they also used to run OLTP transactions during daytime. So in telecom and banking domain, what used to happen is, lot of reporting jobs run during OLTP transactions, like 9 to 5, when banking hours are there. It used to consume lot of reporting jobs runs during OLTP timing. So that used to consume lot of resources. And as a result, the server response used to be very low. So what I suggested them is, let us replicate the data to Hyderabad server using data guard. which will be real time, because with GoldenGate you can experience the latency of 3 seconds, 5 seconds, 8 seconds, or maximum 30 seconds. It's based on the configuration. And what you can do is you can now run your reporting or reporting jobs from, instead of primary server, switch them to GoldenGate server, because your data is almost real time. Only there is lag of 2 seconds or 8 seconds. Right. I tested the lag after we implemented. The maximum lag we introduced was 8 seconds. So I suggested them use it for use the replicated data for reporting purpose, so that OLTP transactions are not impacted, and hence the customer satisfaction would be high. First we did POC, and after that we implement this project, and you won't believe how much improvement the bank got. They were used to save almost, prior to implementing this, there are other reasons for it why they were losing money. So prior to this, they were losing money of, they had the loss of almost $1 million per month. After that, it reduced to very less. It was one of the game changing implementations. Like for me as well, this project took almost 3 years to complete. And for me as well, it was a game changer personally. Like I learned a lot with that project, and also for bank, and it is a big case study now. So you can use your data, replicated data, for distributing data, for backup, hot standby, auditing, reporting, and load distribution. Guys, during the session as well, like when our live session happens as well, I share my real-time stories, like learnings, what I have got, a lot of things I share. So this is one of the best project I did, and I share it with mostly all the webinars. Now with GoldenGate, you can replicate the data as is, or another important feature with GoldenGate is GoldenGate supports data filtration and transformation as well. Like you can replicate the as is, or you can edit the data which you are replicating, or you can transform the data. You can split into different distributions, have metadata added, and filter as well. And GoldenGate also supports both DML and DDLs as well. So one of the common question which I get, or what people get confused with this, is GoldenGate is a data guard solution. What is the difference between GoldenGate and data guard? Guys, I always say one thing. You can compare apple to apple, but you cannot compare apple to orange. The purpose of data guard and the purpose of GoldenGate is completely different. I'm just giving you one scenario, like what scenario I gave, that may be applicable to it, but other scenarios may not be. Each organization have different requirements. But one of the thing is, performance wise, GoldenGate is much better than data guard, as it has been proven. My personal experience, I'm telling you. Second thing is, what GoldenGate can do. Like GoldenGate, we have to understand one thing. Data guard is not a costly product, but GoldenGate is a separately licensed product, right? It charges a lot for an organization. It's a niche product. It's a premium product. So one thing which I always say is, if something is offered as a premium, if something is your organization is getting charged for, then definitely it adds value to something. Another thing is, with GoldenGate, your source can be any version, target can be any version. Source can be Oracle, non-Oracle. Source can be on any platform, target can be on any platform. GoldenGate can replicate the data. However, data guard has some restriction. Same way, GoldenGate can do data filtration and transformation as per a requirement. So say, for example, there are 1,000 transactions happening on source. You want to replicate only 5 transactions. It is possible, yes. You can decide which schemas you want to replicate. Based on your requirement, you can do. There are multiple things you can do. But with data guard is a database level replication. GoldenGate is an object level replication. So you replicate objects with GoldenGate, but with data guard, it, like even if you do alter system command, it will be replicated to data guard. Right. So data guard is completely different than GoldenGate. The use case of GoldenGate is much different than data guard. Data guard is just for disaster recovery. GoldenGate is much more than disaster. Like GoldenGate is for business intelligence also you can use. So the usage of GoldenGate spreads to multiple domains, spreads to multiple solutions. Okay. So if you want to know more in detail the difference between GoldenGate and DataGuard, I'll do one webinar in future. But in the meanwhile, there is one webinar available. I did a few months back. It's available on my YouTube channel. You can always go through. Okay. Now the next thing is, who should be learning GoldenGate? So GoldenGate, if you are working as DBAs or apps DBA, like any non-Oracle or Oracle database administrator, if you're working as PLSQL developer, technologist responsible for data replication, high availability data technology. So anyone who is working with data, then cloud migrations. Now organizations are using Oracle GoldenGate, or they are buying Oracle GoldenGate licenses just for migration purpose. So when you are migrating data from on-prem to cloud, organization buy GoldenGate license, because GoldenGate is also used for zero downtime upgradation. So GoldenGate, and I'll tell you one more thing. Organizations buy, because GoldenGate license of course is costly. Not every organization can afford it. But they buy GoldenGate license, say for example, for 6 months or 3 months, and similarly they hire GoldenGate administrators for 3 months or 6 months on contract, and they pay very well during that time. So GoldenGate right now, because of these cloud migrations as well, it is very much in boom. So why learn GoldenGate? Like learning GoldenGate is for two reasons, of course, professional as well as personal reason. So GoldenGate is used by almost top banks and telecoms and large enterprises with big budget. So higher paid job. GoldenGate is still niche technologies. If you still go out into the market, not many uh, professionals will find having GoldenGate knowledge. So it gives you edge over them. Today, employers expect DBAs developers to know more than one task, and GoldenGate is niche and in demand skill. I'll tell you, when cloud boom happened, like when cloud was initially introduced, I believe during COVID, you won't believe, I used to receive almost 500 messages a day asking question that with introduction of cloud, does DBAs no longer exist, or DBA jobs are going to extinct? My answer always, not during that time, but every time, is you should keep upgrading yourself. Learn something which keeps you upgraded. Like with automation or with cloud, it's not like still it needs people, but you have to upgrade yourself with changing times. For this, I always give one example, Nokia, and I always give example of Nokia or BlackBerry as well. If I remember, or if you also remember, 2000 until in 2000s, Nokia, in fact 2011-12 as well, Nokia was the biggest market player. There was no Apple, like there was no Apple boom, there was no Samsung, there was no any other brand at that time. Everyone used to hold Nokia mobiles. But why it failed? This is one of the biggest case study as well. Like you should keep upgrading yourself with changing times. They didn't change themselves, they didn't accept Android, and they didn't change themselves basically with the changing times. They didn't upgrade, they didn't plan for future basically. They were in their present and they didn't plan for future, and hence it you don't see them now. Same thing applies to us as well. We need to upgrade ourselves. We need to be a step ahead from everyone. Like it's possible each organizations will be giving pink slip to some people, but it won't be for everyone. It would be for bottom 10 to 15%. You have to ensure you are not into that bottom 10 to 15. If you show your organization your worth, then of course. So GoldenGate is one of the most niche technology and in demand skill. You already might be knowing. I won't spend much time because I'll have to cover technical details as well. But yeah, it is one of the most in demand skill. And with cloud implementations, customers want real time replication or zero downtime upgradation, migration. from on-prem to cloud or cloud to on-prem. Then DBAs, developers, and architects can set apart by upskill and stay ahead in career and better paid in GoldenGate. One of the major advantage with learning GoldenGate is this is, if you go to Indeed.com, you can also search, right? The people with GoldenGate knowledge, good GoldenGate knowledge, average salary of GoldenGate administrator is 40% more than DBAs. So professionally, it helps you, as well as personally also it will help you a lot. Apart from that, one of the reason, I'll tell you another reason why learn GoldenGate is, why organizations are looking for so much GoldenGate administrators in the market is, a lot of organizations sign end user license agreement with Oracle. Now, as I told you, GoldenGate is a separately licensed. Lot of organizations buy their, a lot of organizations uh, don't buy GoldenGate license just because it is cost, right? So what happens is they sign end user license agreement with Oracle. It becomes cheap. End user license agreement means it's a contract with Oracle, and it depends what you put in that contract, of course. But many contracts, they use GoldenGate to be used in any number of server. Of course, they have to pay, but it depends on contract, what the contract they have with Oracle. Now, with that, they are free to use GoldenGate in any number of servers. Now, when they can use it, they know the capability of GoldenGate. And now I'll give one example. Recently, I was working for one customer around 5 months back. They didn't have GoldenGate. After they signed end user license agreement with Oracle, they use, because they knew the capability of GoldenGate, how it can be used. After that, they use GoldenGate in almost 130 projects. I did all the implementations for them, and because so what happens is, if they have to use GoldenGate so much, they have to hire people, right? They have to hire people who have technology understanding, who are technology expert, right? And they hired 10 individuals, 10 GoldenGate experts at that time, and now they are using GoldenGate. Because my focus, when I work for any organization, what I do is I do a short-term projects for them, like 3 months, 6 months. I work for them, and after that I come out of it and train their team, and then they implement it they set up and implement it. And if they need any help based on the contract I have, I support. So that's how it works. So again, yeah, if GoldenGate is so much in demand, then definitely they also need people who can work for them. Okay, so guys, if you have any questions anytime, post in the chat window and I'll take all the questions for you. So there is a question. So sir, are you suggesting to use GoldenGate instead of GG for instead of data guard for performance? See, as per my experience, data guard and GoldenGate performance wise, of course, GoldenGate is much better than data guard, the performance wise. So, but the thing is, GoldenGate and data guard, as I told you, you can compare apple to apple, but you cannot compare apple to orange. Same thing applies to GoldenGate and data guard. So GoldenGate provides you much more capability what data guard does. Data guard is just a disaster recovery. GoldenGate is GoldenGate is an ETL2 basically. Okay. Okay. So now let us discuss about different types of GoldenGate architecture. Okay. Now, as I told you, in 2009, Oracle overtook it. Now, many of you must have seen or worked on Oracle GoldenGate already. Now, from 2009 to 2017, there was only one way to configure Oracle GoldenGate, and that was through command prompt, GGSCI. GGSCI stands for GoldenGate Software Command Line Interface. So it is command prompt of Oracle GoldenGate classical. So until 2017, This was called as Oracle GoldenGate. In 2017, Oracle renamed it to Oracle GoldenGate Classic Architecture. Oracle renamed it to Oracle GoldenGate Classic Architecture in 2017. Okay. And they launched a new architecture of GoldenGate, which is called as Oracle GoldenGate Microservices. Oracle GoldenGate Microservices is the new architecture which they have launched. So Oracle GoldenGate Microservices is GUI based architecture. One of the feature is GUI. So it's a REST API based architecture, and you can set up, manage, troubleshoot, configure GoldenGate through GUI as well. So GUI is one of the feature of microservices. Okay, and it allows for better integration with cloud applications. So if I have to give you a quick look and feel of microservices, I can give it to you. How microservices looks like is, so this is how your microservices will look like. So I'll log in. This is the administrator server of microservices. So basically, from GUI itself, you can configure GoldenGate processes like extract and replicates directly from GUI. You can click on plus sign and follow the instructions. You can do that. Same way for replicate as well. You can do the same tasks as well. So then classic architecture, I'll show you of course as well. So classic architecture is GGSCI based architecture, which allows you to set up, manage, troubleshoot, configure. So it's a traditional architecture, and microservices is a new REST API based architecture, which was introduced in GoldenGate version 12.3. So let me give you a brief overview as well of different architectures available. So until 12.2, only classic architecture was. There was no microservices. From 12.3, microservices was introduced, and from 12.3 to GoldenGate. So these versions, what we are talking about, these are GoldenGate versions. So from GoldenGate version 12.3 to GoldenGate version 21C, both classic and microservices coexist. Okay, both classic and microservices architecture coexist. From 23C onwards, there will not be any classic, only MSA will be there, for which microservices is. There will not be any classic for those databases. Okay, so 21C is the last version where classic architecture is available. Okay, now still, but the question comes, if classic is going away, do we still learn classic? The thing, guys, is let me tell you, with classic architecture, if you go out in market, still you will find 80 to 82% implementations on classic architecture. You will still find 80 to 82% of implementation still on classic, because not met, even if people have GoldenGate knowledge, microservices architecture, microservices architect, people having microservices architecture is still very less. Only 10% of GoldenGate administrators know what is microservices and how it works. So still new implementations in many organizations are going on classic architecture, but Oracle is pushing this product a lot, and the vision is to migrate 40% at least by end of 2025 to microservices. Okay, but yeah, present is still classic, future of GoldenGate is microservices. So as I gave you the example of Nokia, right? So the thing is, we don't know for how long. The one question which I get is, if I learn GoldenGate, how is the future of Golden? I always say I can predict future of at least 7 years, 5 to 7 years now. GoldenGate is here to stay. After that, if it is able to evolve according to market, of course it will be there. So what Oracle has done is, with changing times, they have accepted the change and they introduced this Oracle GoldenGate microservices. So this is one of the biggest game changer, and that's why I'm saying at least for next 7 years, or in fact 10 years, with introduction of this, we are good. We never know, like, right? If any other player comes in the market, yes, it might be facing uh, some competition during that. But yeah, Oracle is regularly changing. They are making changes to this product as per the changing times, and hence, like, still Oracle. Why GoldenGate is biggest player? Because another thing is, Oracle in database is one of the leading providers still, right? Okay, so in today's version, like, many, if the version we talk about organizations uses, like, either 19C or 21. 21C is the latest version which is. So classic architecture is command prompt based architecture, GGSCI, and it is available for both Oracle as well as non-Oracle. Oracle GoldenGate microservices is available from 12.3 onwards. It allows you to set up, manage, troubleshoot, configure GoldenGate through GUI. It is a REST API based architecture. REST API basically is a software architectural style that is created to guide the design and development of architecture for World Wide Web. So basically, REST API is the architecture which allows you to develop and design GoldenGate on www, World Wide Web. So it is internet scalable as well. Okay. So these are the two architecture which are available in the market. Now, one question is, with the introduction of microservices, does integrated no longer exist? How many of you have that question? I repeat my question. With the introduction of microservices, does integrated no longer exist? If you have the same question and if you know the answer, type in the chat. Okay. I'll answer that question in next few minutes for you. So my question is, with introduction of microservices, does integrated no longer exist? Okay. So I've received couple of response. No. Okay. So they are saying with introduction of microservices, integrated no longer exists. Okay. Okay. I received lot of people are saying no. Okay. Okay. I'll answer that question in next few minutes for you. Okay. In the meanwhile, let us discuss about, there is one more product in GoldenGate family. So if your answer is no, then why do you think it's no? Type in the chat window. Okay. In the meanwhile, let us discuss about another product. Now, Oracle GoldenGate family includes three things: classic architecture, microservices, and then there is one more product which is called as Veridata. Now, Veridata is another product in GoldenGate family which allows you to verify the data. So say, for example, on source, you have got 10,000 records. On target, you have 9,000 records. So what Veridata can do for you is, it can identify the discrepant records for you and it can repair those discrepancies. So Veridata is getting very popular nowadays due to these cloud migrations going on. So organizations want to confirm whether their data is in sync or not upon migration. So Veridata is getting very popular now. So validate. So Oracle GoldenGate family includes three things: classic architecture, microservices, and Veridata. So data discrepancy means, as I told you, there are 10,000 records in a table. So say, for example, you're replicating data using Oracle GoldenGate from source to target. Now, some of the transactions are missed due to some reason, and your system is running for last 6 years. Today on source, the count of the records is 10,000. On target, it is only 9,000. So you want to identify what are the discrepant records. What are the records which are not present on between source and target? Or what are the column values which are differing between? So if count is same, but it is possible that the rows may be different, right? So it can find all the data discrepancies. And if you want to repair, like if you want to correct those discrepancies as well, you can do that. So Oracle GoldenGate family contains classic microservices as well as Veridata. Now Veridata is another licensed product, and it is very much widely used now due to these cloud migrations. Upon migrations, organizations want to confirm whether their data is in sync or not. So Veridata is getting very popular nowadays. Okay, so Oracle GoldenGate family contains three things: classic architecture, microservices, and Veridata. So if you go out for any job interview, job support, or anything related to GoldenGate, any question will come from these three things: classic architecture, microservices, and Veridata. None of the question will come out of these three things. Okay. Now, coming back to that question of with introduction of microservices, does it no longer exist? Does integrated no longer exist? Guys, remember one thing: there is no integrated architecture. Here we are talking about class architecture, classic and microservices architecture. Now, in GoldenGate, there are different types of extracts and replicates. The different types of extracts are integrated extract and classic extract. Now, when GoldenGate was introduced, there was only one type of extract. So extract extracts the data from source database, and replicate applies the data to the target database. So extracts and replicates are processes involved in Oracle GoldenGate replication, which we'll be discussing in the next slide. But different types of extracts are integrated and classic. So when GoldenGate was introduced, there was only one type of extract. Now in GoldenGate version 11.04, in Oracle introduced integrated extract, and they renamed the existing extract to classic extract. Okay. Same way, different types of replicates available are non-integrated or classic replicate, integrated replicate, coordinated replicate, or parallel replicate is the latest replicate. So there are two types of parallel replicate: parallel non-integrated replicate and parallel integrated replicate. So the performance of parallel replicate is much faster than its contemporary replicate. So the thing is, when GoldenGate was introduced, there was only one type of replicate. Then different types of evolutions came, and the first one is known as classic replicate. Okay. So under micro classic architecture, you can configure different types of extracts if supported, integrated or classic. Same way, under microservices architecture, you can configure different types of extract, integrated as well as classic extract. Okay. So integrated is not a type of architecture, but it is type of extract. Same way, there are only two types of architecture: classic and microservices. Under that, you can configure integrated extract or classic extract. Same way, under microservices, you can configure integrated or classic extract. Okay. Guys, if you have any question, feel free to post your questions in the chat window. Okay. So there is a question: how common is use of Veridata in a GoldenGate project? Veridata is getting very popular, as I told you. So Veridata is very widely used. Okay. I have one question: version in term of database, which are available in Oracle or GoldenGate version. So as I told you, there are different versions available in GoldenGate. The latest version is Oracle GoldenGate 21. See, if you have a question related to like which database Oracle, for which Oracle database version Oracle GoldenGate is supported, for that you need to check Oracle GoldenGate certification metrics. Okay. Now Oracle Golden, will we discuss about that in detail during our live training. This is due to time constraint. Yes, I won't be able to take that question right now. Now Oracle GoldenGate classic architecture, let us discuss. So Oracle GoldenGate classic architecture looks like this. You have source database and target database. Source database can be Oracle, any Oracle and or any Oracle or any other supported non-Oracle database. Same way, target database can be Oracle or any other supported non-Oracle database. So you configure GoldenGate extract. So each database has its own transaction logs. In case of Oracle, these transaction logs are called as redo logs or backup of redo logs, which are called as archive logs. Okay. Now, whatever changes happens into the database, those changes gets recorded into the transaction logs of the database. Those changes gets recorded into the transaction logs of the database. Now, what you do is you configure GoldenGate extract process, which reads the data from the transaction logs of the database. So extract and capture process are used interchangeably in GoldenGate. Same way, terms, delivery, and replicate are used interchangeably. So when we say capture, it means extract, and when we say delivery, it means replicate, or vice versa. So you configure GoldenGate extract process, which reads the changes, which reads the committed transactions from the source database transaction logs and writes them to the local trail files. These trail files reside on operating system. Once the data is available into local trail file, GoldenGate data pump process reads the data from local trail, sends it over TCP/IP network, and writes it to remote trail on target. Once the data becomes available into remote trail, the replicate process reads the data from remote trail and apply it to target data. So there are three processes involved in GoldenGate replication: capture, pump, and delivery, or we can say extract, pump, and replicate process. So extract process does the data extraction part, pump process sends the data over TCP/IP network, and replicate process apply it to target data. GoldenGate also works in bidirectional mode. So bidirectional means both the sites will be live. So whatever transaction happens on, so I always say bidirectional is nothing but two-way unidirectional with some consideration. So whatever transaction now happens on site B, extract process will capture it from the transaction logs, write it to local trail. Pump process will read the data from local trail residing on site B and write it to site A remote trail. And once the data becomes available into the remote trail on site A, the replicate process will read the data and write it to target database, site A database. So there are three processes involved: extract, pump, and delivery in Oracle GoldenGate replication. So this is how the flow happens. Extract process extracts the data, writes to local trail. Pump process reads the data from local trail, sends it over TCP/IP network, and writes it into remote trail. Once the data becomes available into remote trail, the replicate process reads the data from remote trail and apply it to target data. Now, these are the components of Oracle GoldenGate classic architecture. Now, apart from extract and replicate process and pump, there is one manager process involved. Now, manager process manages Oracle GoldenGate environment. Complete GoldenGate environment is managed by Oracle. As the name suggests, manager process manages its resources. Then trail files. We saw there are two types of trail files: local trail and remote. So the local trail resides on source system and remote trail resides on target system. Then there is one more, collector process. So collector process is a background process which runs on target side. So what happens is when the pump process reads the data from local trail, it sends it over TCP/IP network where collector process collects it and writes it to remote. So collector is a background process which runs on target machine, and the work of collector process, as the name suggests, is it collects the data which is sent from TCP, which is sent over TCP/IP network by the pump process and writes it to remote trail. Okay. Now let us see microservices architecture. So microservices architecture is a REST API based architecture which enable us to configure, monitor, and manage Oracle GoldenGate services using web-based user interface, web-based UI. Oracle GoldenGate 12c R3 introduced the concept of microservices architecture. So this is how your microservices architecture looks like. You have service manager under service. So what happens in microservices architecture is things runs as a service. There are various services which run. So service manager is basically a watchdog of all the services. Under service manager, you have got administration server, performance metric server, distribution. So let me show you. So you saw, first of all, we logged into admin server. Sorry, service manager. So this is the service manager. Under service manager, you can see all the services running: administration server, distribution server, performance metric server, and receiver server. Now, if you click on admin server, you will be logged into admin server. Or you can see all the tabs as well. So see, administration service, this is the tab for distribution service, this is the tab for performance metric service, this is the tab for receiver service. So you can click on any of them to change the service, whatever service you want. So service manager is watchdog and other services runs under service manager. Okay. So performance metric server, distribution server, receiver server, etc. So there are 4 services: service manage, administration server, receiver server, distribution server, and performance metric server. So remember one thing, classic architecture data pump has been replaced with distribution server in microservices. Same way, classic architecture collector process has been replaced with receiver server in microservices. So in microservices, you don't have data pump process, you don't have collector process. Instead of that, you have got distribution server and receiver server respectively. Okay. Guys, if you have any question, feel free to post them in chat. Okay. Now, let us discuss about how do we install Oracle Golden. So before we install Oracle GoldenGate, ensure to check the certification matrix. So someone asked that question, I'll take that question, even though we have time constraint, but I'll take that question. So before you proceed to install Oracle GoldenGate, one thing you have to keep in mind is you need to check the certification matrix. It is very important. It is important for us to be right first time. Like during the training, when I provide this training, I always ensure to provide you production like scenario. I'll tell you about myself. I have implemented GoldenGate in so far more than 1,000 projects. So the learning I provide or the things I provide you in training, those are based on my experience, real-time experience, what you will get. Okay. So I share those. So during the training also, I will provide you real-time experiences. So it is very important for us to be right first. Though GoldenGate installation is pretty straightforward. I always say one of the most easiest thing to install in this world would be for a DBA would be GoldenGate. But yes, there are certain things which you need to keep. And one thing is be right first time. So always ensure you check certification. How do you check it? Let me show you. Okay. So to check the certification matrix, you can go through Google and you can see GoldenGate is Fusion middleware product. So you can go to Oracle Fusion middleware certification matrix. Select the first link. Now here you will find, go below. Here you will find certification matrix of Oracle GoldenGate for all the versions. So you have got 21C, 19C, 18C certification matrix. So if you go below, you will find certification matrix for 11G, 12C, 12C R3, GoldenGate Validate all certification. So check the latest version certification matrix, see if it's supported for your environment. Open it. So the GoldenGate So before you proceed to check certification metrics, you need to note down what is source database type, source database version, and platform, like OS, what OS you have. Same way for target as well, you need to check. So in our case, the virtual boxes which we have, the same will be shared with you during training as well. So the DB type is Oracle. The version of database is 19C, and the platform is Linux, Enterprise Linux 7 basically. Okay. So now you can find from this certification matrix, major advantage of checking this certification matrix is you can always find this GoldenGate version supports which databases. This GoldenGate version supports which databases. So if you want to see 21C supports how many databases, so you can go to this data store name, and this 21C GoldenGate support these many databases. Now it's possible, like you may say that Ashish, does GoldenGate does not support, say for example, Informix. So it means that 21C may not support if it's certification matrix, it doesn't say. But in some other 19C or 18C or 12C, 11G, it might be supported. So it is possible that in 21C they haven't introduced the support yet. Subsequently they will. Okay. So you can always check the certification metrics whether your version is supported or not. So check Oracle database. So binaries are different for different platforms and different database version. Oh, I selected different one, I believe. Which one? Oh, select all. I'll select only Oracle database. Okay. Then if you see this Oracle, and I'll select here as well OS version. Okay. So see, Oracle database GoldenGate version 21.3.0 supports Oracle Linux or Red Hat Linux 7 as well, which I have, and it supports Oracle database 11.204, 12.10.2, 19C and 21C databases. Okay, so we can use GoldenGate for our environment. Once you know it is supported, then go to otn or edelivery.oracle.com, download the software. Once you have downloaded it, transfer it to VMs. So in these, the training provided virtual boxes already have the softwares. So we are downloading Oracle GoldenGate Classic architecture. We are installing. Now, the GoldenGate binaries I have already unzipped and they are present in this location. Okay. Now what you have to do is to install GoldenGate, you need to run installer. Okay. So I'll set the display and now run install. So for doing the run installer, it will do some pre-checks. So before you install GoldenGate, there are of course some pre-checks you might need to do, like you have space requirement, hardware requirement, all those things. Along with that, how much space you need, space calculation you need to do, an analysis of database. There are a lot of things involved which we discuss in detail during training, and also which user you are going to install. So Oracle GoldenGate 21C, one of the new feature of GoldenGate 21C is it has unified. So it supports multiple databases, all databases it supports. So it's not library linked. However, if you see 19C GoldenGate, it is a database specific because it uses database binaries. So select this one, Oracle GoldenGate for Oracle GoldenGate 20, Oracle database 21C and lower supported versions, and click on next. Next, it will ask for where do you want to install this GoldenGate. So I'll select this location, data, app. I'll create one folder here as demo. Okay. And we saw one of the component of GoldenGate is manager. So manager requires a port to run. So the default port for manager is 7809, but you can choose any port. Just ensure that that port is open and nothing else. Click on next. Verify the details. If you want to save the response file for silent installation of other environment, you can do that. And click on install. So once you click on install, installation of GoldenGate will not take more than a couple of minutes. So the installation will be completed. One installation will be completed. So this is classic architecture installation we are doing. Okay. So installation is successful. Now we'll go to the location where GoldenGate is installed. Go to data, app, go to demo. So this is the location. This is GoldenGate home folder. So here you will find GGSCA. GGSCA executable is there. So execute it. So you are into GGSCA. So do info all. You will find manager process would be appended. So GoldenGate installation is completed. So this is classic architecture. This is classic architecture. And the one which we saw, admin server, etc. This is microservices architecture. So microservices architecture, one of the feature is GUI, and classic architecture, it is completely command prompt. Okay. So you can also do silent installation if you want to do. GoldenGate also supports silent installation of GoldenGate microservices. So there are different options to install GoldenGate. Like you can install GoldenGate on local machine, or you can use GoldenGate as a hub. You might have heard nowadays GoldenGate Hub. What is GoldenGate Hub? So GoldenGate Hub means, say for example, there are two options. Suppose there are 100 databases in your environment, 100 source and target databases. So one option is you do local GoldenGate installations on all 100 databases. That means 100 GoldenGate installations. Another option is you define one GoldenGate server hub. There you will install GoldenGate, and one GoldenGate installation can serve multiple sources and targets. So that will be called as GoldenGate hub. So when one GoldenGate installation works with multiple source and target, it was called as GoldenGate hub. So GoldenGate hub is getting very popular nowadays, and a lot of organizations are using it because it is very easy to manage and configure as. I would not say configure, but easier to. So this is how GoldenGate data flow happen. So GoldenGate data flow happens how it is. Oracle redo log files are read by the extract process, capturing any required data for the application. Then extract carries out any mapping and conversion to the data and writes it out to the trail file. Data pump reads the data from trail file and transfer it from the source system to target, where it is written by the collector process to the remote trail file. Then replicate reads this trail file, applies any mapping and conversions, and applies the data to the target database using SQL statements. Okay. So these are about the webinar which I wanted to discuss. So just to give you overview, these are the three courses which I offer: Oracle GoldenGate Classic Architecture 21C, Microservices is also upgraded to 21C, and Oracle GoldenGate Veridata. So you can access all the course content which is available on the drive. So you can access. So please do like, share, and subscribe my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/ashish_agarwal_gg. And you can also access the course content. I'm providing the course content on the chat window. So you can always check the course content from there. And along with it, with the training, so my new batches are commencing from next week, next Saturday, 24th of February. So there are success stories and training feedback you can find which are available on my LinkedIn, as well as I'm sharing here as well. So there are a lot of success stories which has been shared by students. And you can also visit my LinkedIn profile, and on my LinkedIn as well, you can find a lot of success stories. So the offerings of the live course includes you have 1 year unlimited retake. So you can join any session for next 1 year, any number of times. So I conduct this classic architecture training 4 to 6 times a year, microservices 3 to 4 times a year, Veridata 2 times a year. So you can join any session for next 1 year, any number of times. You also have access to recorded sessions. So once the session is completed, you get access to recorded sessions. You receive step-by-step activity guides. You have one-on-one doubt clearing sessions. Then you have job support for lifetime. It means that any issues related to GoldenGate you are facing at your workplace, you have lifetime on job support. Then you have lifetime WhatsApp support as well. So lifetime WhatsApp support means you'll be part of elite training WhatsApp group where other training students of mine are there. So you can post your questions, queries over there. You can answer other people questions as well. Then you will receive lab setup kit for practice. So this training is completely practical. So you will get lab setup kit for practice. So I'll be sharing with you the pre-cooked virtual boxes, which comes with database software 19C and GoldenGate 21C. So same virtual boxes. So you will get this with the training. So the sessions are conducted regularly. All the sessions are practical and training is interview and job oriented. And you can join any session any number of times for next 1 year. The sessions are live and interactive, and they will pave the path towards becoming GoldenGate expert. So at the end of the session, you will be able to set up, manage, troubleshoot, configure GoldenGate on your own, as well as able to provide solution related to GoldenGate on your own to your customers. Okay. So if you're interested for upcoming training, you can always reach out to Learnomate. You can always email me or you can WhatsApp me. This is my WhatsApp number. You can always reach out to me, which is 416-871-5708, and +1 is the country code. And there are few FAQs related to the training. So so will I miss anything if I join now if you join in middle of already running batches? So the new batch, guys, is starting, let me tell you. So the new batch commences from 24th of February 2024, and timing is every Saturday. As per EST timing, it is 7:30 to 10 a.m. EST, and as per Indian timing, it is 6 to 8:30 p.m. IST. Once the daylight saving ends, so in March 2nd or 3rd week, as per Indian timing, it will be 5 to 7:30. It will be advanced by an hour. Okay. So it's every Saturday. Okay. 2.5 hours it is conducted. So the duration of classic architecture is 20 to 22 hours. Microservices is 14 to 15 hours, and Veridata is 10 to 12 hours. All the courses started from basics and covers up to advanced level. So this course we are starting from 24th. Classic is starting. One of my microservices weekday batch. So I conduct batches alternatively on weekend and weekdays. So this is weekend batch which is commencing from 24th. For weekday, I've already started for microservices last week. 2 sessions are done, and third session is next week on Tuesday. So this is how sessions are conducted, and each course starts from basics and covers up to advanced level.